Hi, I'd like to take this opportunity to just talk with you a little bit about my expectations for the formal presentation that you'll be giving in front of the class. The rubric is here and you have access to this. You can quickly access it through the daily agenda on Moodle. But I'd like to just walk you through real quickly the different categories that I'll be grading you on as you are up front giving your presentation. The first thing I want you to recognize is that this will be an individual grade. Okay? Everyone is going to have their own grade for this part of the presentation, which means that every person in the group has to do some sort of speaking presentation, enough to show me that you know what you're talking about and that you are an expert, if you will, on the mental illness that you have researched. So the different categories you can see listed here under the look fors. Volume is going to obviously be loud enough to be heard. And that can be a problem sometimes with some of those more timid students who are quiet, and the microphone is always an option for you if you would like to use the microphone just to make sure that we can hear you. Your enthusiasm. It's more than just, I'm up here giving a presentation and I don't really want to be here, but I'm here to get the grade. No, show that you're actually interested in the things that you researched. So interest and some enthusiasm throughout the presentation, not just at the beginning, but throughout the entire presentation. The speaking is a speaking rate and vocabulary that's confident and appropriate for the presentation, which means that you're not just monotone, not just reading the screen, which is one of my biggest problems with this presentation, is that students will read the screen, which we're going to look at a little bit further down the way here. Now, with this being a formal presentation, you're making sure that you are careful with your ums, ahs, and likes. You might want to practice this presentation before you actually give it. I know even in my videos I will say or ahs. I'm thinking about something. But I'm thinking on the fly. It's not a rehearsed presentation that I'm giving you on these videos, and I can edit things out. But when you're up front giving a presentation, you've got to make sure that you are confident and you know what you're talking about. You might want to actually go back to some of your speech notes and remember some of the things that you were taught in your speech class with being prepared to give a presentation. I think we lose some of that when we move from class to class, and I want you to make sure that you're being professional up here. Eye contact. One of the biggest things that we lose points on is eye contact. Making eye contact with individuals throughout the presentation and doesn't just focus on one spot in the room. Now for this one I am going to bring you down to the below standard and let you look here. It doesn't make much eye contact at all, focuses on one spot in the room, reads the entire presentation is one of the biggies that you lose points on when you just read the presentation. Stares at the screen, which I get a lot of students who do, or looks down at their feet during most of the presentation. That usually isn't a problem. One other one that can be a problem is when a student mostly looks at the teacher throughout the presentation. So you want to make sure that you're looking around the room. Dress and posture is usually not an issue except for the possible slouching and leaning on the smart cart as you're presenting. So even though the bar stool is up here, you want to make sure that you're not sitting. You want to be standing and following school dress code. And I do give 5 extra credit points if you're dressed professionally. Now, that always brings up a lot of discussion for what's dressed professionally, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. Business professional. What you would wear to a job interview. So girls, we're looking at dress slacks, a nice top, nice shoes, okay, your hair is done nicely, things like that. Guys, we are looking at a tie. We're looking at nice, professionally dressed clothing. So if you do that, if you come in and you give your presentation and you're dressed professionally, girls also, skirt is much better than dress slacks even. So skirt or dress slacks, looking sharp, looking really nice. And I'll give you 5 extra credit points. That's certainly not a requirement. That's just if you want some extra credit. Command of the content. This one is the most valuable point category. Displaying knowledge and command of content. You can present information without relying on your notes. Now that doesn't mean that you can't have notes up here, but you know what you're talking about, and it's obvious that you know what you're talking about. If students or if I have questions, you can answer those questions. But here's the biggie. as you're making points in your presentation, as you're looking at the points that you have on your PowerPoint slide, you are elaborating on those. You are explaining those. It's more than just reading the screen. You'll see where you start to lose points down here does not elaborate on points. You'll lose points if you don't elaborate on the points that you have on the screen. Down here, has great difficulty answering questions, does not display knowledge and command of the content. It's mostly the idea that you just read the screen. So if you're up here in eye contact staring at the screen, you're going to lose points down here too, because usually you're not elaborating either, you're just reading, which is going to get you in 2 categories. And then finally, organization. This isn't usually a problem as we have these smaller groups. This is when I had larger groups of 3 or 4 and students weren't sure which slides they were responsible for and things like that. But one problem that we have from time to time is interrupting the other group members or dominating the presentation. You kind of know what I'm talking about. There are those students who kind of know everything and they just sort of take over. And you want to make sure that you are giving your partner an opportunity to share his or her knowledge and expertise as well. And you can read down here further. So you'll see that this is a 70-point part of the project. It's pretty easy to get an A as long as you know what you're talking about and you're not reading from the screen. You want to be looking at your audience. You don't want to be facing the screen. We want to see your face, not your behind. Go back to speech class, like I said. So if you have any questions, as always, email me, ask me, come in and see me. But I will see you soon, and we'll start these presentations very soon. Have a great day.